Soup.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Beau Oliver, joined here today with Aaron the Nerd Soup Monkey, and we are back to review HBO's new original series, House of the Dragon, Episode 2, The Rogue Prince. And this was another solid episode. I thought it maintained the quality of the first, taking place 6 months after the premiere episode, so how they're still dealing with the death of Aemma Targaryen, Rhaenyra's new role as the heir, and we see that things really haven't changed for her. Even though she's got this new position, things are pretty much the same. But I thought the episode had a lot of good foreshadowing, teasing things that are to come, diving deeper into these characters, further developing their relationships, spotlighting some supporting characters that weren't necessarily in the limelight last week, and I thought all these scenes were really, really strong. But Aaron, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on the second episode of House of the Dragon.
No, I agree with what you just said.
Well, actually, no, before you get into that, we have to give a quick shout out to our sponsor.
Okay.
Yeah, show the logo and play the cool music, Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends is the first mobile game to bring a true console-level experience to your smartphone. With Raid, you can explore millions of champion combinations and master countless tactics as you take on raid bosses, dungeon runs, campaign battles, and PvP arena matches. It's fairly easy to come up with a number of good reasons as to why you should play Raid, but our top 3 reasons would have to be champion design, gameplay, and boss difficulty. The stunning champions in Raid feature some really cool designs, from badass warriors to wise and ancient-looking wizards to shape-shifting demons who look like the sleep paralysis monsters at the edge of my bed. This attention to creative detail can also be found in Raid's addictive gameplay, which challenges users to hone their skills throughout its fun yet challenging campaign. And the bosses in Raid aren't easily defeated, giving users a strong sense of satisfaction and triumph when they overcome their feisty foes. And this month, Raid will begin its Forge Pass Season 3 with some amazing rewards, including a limited edition artifact set, plus some awesome looking champion skins for the incredible Madame Ceres, and the legendary version of everybody's favorite champion, Death Knight. The best part is, everyone can get him for free. All you have to do is log in, play Raid for 7 days between now and October 27th, and you'll add Ultimate Death Knight to your collection. It's that easy. And I know what you're thinking, Beau, you're offering us so many cool things for free, there can't possibly be more. But there is. You can also use the Crisis promo code for a bunch of free items to instantly level up your new strongest champion, all the way to level 50. 5-star Ascension. This is the best time to get started in Raid, and if you click our link in the description box below, or if you scan our QR code here on the screen, you'll get unique bonuses worth up to $30 in value. We're talking a free epic champion, Tyrell, 200k silver, 1 energy refill, 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard, so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get in-game. These rewards will only be available for the next 30 days, and only for new players. So don't wait, click that link in our description box below, and become a champion today, and Raid Shadow Legends.
Can I talk now?
Yes, Aaron, floor is yours. Sorry about that.
No, because I feel like if I start talking, something else is going to play.
No, we're good. We're good to go. Let's get into this review, baby.
Okay. Yeah, so 2 episodes in.
We forgot to do the little intro grab. Go ahead.
All right, well, I'm just going to start talking, and if you interrupt me again, then that's your problem. But yeah, I really like this episode. I think they came out the gate with 2 really good episodes, and I think this is such a good thing for the fandom, that, like, just to restore confidence. And I think everybody is really enjoying the series so far, as am I. And yeah, I think this episode was right up there with the premiere episode. I think, maybe some things are starting to really set into place, and we can kind of see where a lot of this is going. But this setup and the maneuverings and the plays by these characters, some decisions, great decisions, some terrible decisions, it really does have that Game of Thrones feel to it so far, and that's something I'm enjoying, where I'm really hanging on to dialogue of every scene just to see how everything plays out. I think that sequence on Dragonstone was really tense, and it's just, you didn't really know how it was going to play out. But these character moments between Rhaenyra, especially, I think this was her episode where she really shined. Those moments with Alicent, that when she comes and saves the day at Dragonstone, her conversations with her father were all very, very strong.
The scene with Rhaenys I thought was great.
Yes,
Rhaenys schooling her on how things go in this world.
When she comes back, it's like, no, it's not that they didn't want a woman on the throne, they just didn't want you. you. I was like,
that was harsh. Right.
Well, harsh lines in this episode.
Yeah, and I think Rhaenys is a veteran, so she took it in stride.
Yes.
Congratulations, you're witty. Yeah, she had a lot of great moments in this episode, even when she's trying to pick out the knight for the Kingsguard, and she appoints Kristen Cole.
That was funny because she was like, well, he has battle experience. And he's kind of hot.
Right, yeah. He's the only good-looking one, sir. That's really what matters. A lot of people were having fun with Viserys on the internet after this episode, just criticizing every decision he makes. He had the line by Daemon that it was never his best trait being king. I thought that was a great line.
That was such a good line.
We mentioned in the first episode, I think what holds Viserys back is that he has a good heart. He's got a moral center. He cares about the people around him. He cares about his daughter. Even though he did check her in this episode and he keeps her in her place, which was frustrating for that character. Like I mentioned, she's named the heir, but she's still holding everybody's cups. And when she tries to give her advice, she's dismissed. And when they try and talk about it at dinner after he says we should be able to speak freely to each other, he dismisses her again. Don't worry about it. You'll learn. You're still young.
The first thought I had in my mind when they were talking about the issue on the stepstones, I'm like, you have dragons. You know that, right?
Yeah.
You could just do one flyover and they might be like, okay, let's go back to the free cities.
Right. Send some of the babies, not even the big boys.
But yeah, you see her try to speak up, and Corlys actually respects the move. Like, at least she has a plan. You can tell that he's losing confidence in Viserys, and that's kind of the main driving force behind this episode, is him proposing marriage to his daughter. And I think that scene when Rhaenys and Corlys present Laena to Viserys.
They trapped him, man.
That was,
they hit him with the double team.
That was such an awkward scene to watch, because we've seen in Game of Thrones, like, obviously with Sansa being young and married off to Tyrion and things of that nature, basically to fuck them both over. Like a big F you to both of those characters.
Right. This is really just Corlys trying to wiggle his way into more power and more influence by, like Otto did last episode. And it's with Rhaenys being the woman who was passed over. She understands what it's like to be a woman in this world. She says she's not comfortable with what they're doing, but she still does it. Yeah.
It's something where I think, obviously, because Viserys, obviously, you know, his gut is being like, well, she's 12 years old. But then we see, like, later on, it's like, well, 15.
He's like, guys, I'm not 15. A pervert. Yeah. I'm not going to marry this 12-year-old. Right. I'll marry this 15-year-old. 16 in a few months.
Yeah. But I think that...
Because she got him a toy. Next day delivery.
That was very nice. Yeah. So working those stonemasons to death to get this little dragon.
Hurry up.
But that was actually pretty funny when she's like, well, what about, where's Vhagar?
That was disrespectful.
What do you mean?
When Balerion died and he said that was the last semblance we had of old Valyria?
Yeah.
This is the first thing that popped into my mind. Vhagar's still alive.
Well, at least Lena's like, if I had to marry this old fucking decrepit king, it's like, I'm trying to get the big daddy dragon.
Yeah, what can you do for me?
Yeah.
I know you got pets.
But yeah, we see right away the pressure for him to remarry and produce a stronger line, which really puts Rhaenyra on the hot seat because, you know, at this point, even though she's named heir, we've seen, with Rhaenys and everyone's been telling her, if a male heir is born, then that puts her succession in doubt.
Yeah, I always love when characters have that threat hanging over them, the next one in line. Like when Ramsay knew that Roose was going to have a son. And he just tries to convince himself, I'm still the heir. And I think Rhaenyra was trying to do that as well in the scene with Rhaenys. But you definitely see her strengths as a leader. You could argue that she's already a better leader than her father, that she's able to read people better than her father and intentions, because Daemon's standoff with Otto was just a ploy for attention. He just, you know, is the king with you? Did the king come to visit me? Yeah. Is he coming to my wedding that I lied about? So Rhaenyra shows up and she shows her strength, dragon versus dragon. She knows that he's not going to make this move because it would be catastrophic. You are starting a war with the crown if you make this move against her. And their family, they have a relationship. So I thought that whole scene was very tense, and it definitely kept me on my toes.
No, that was such a great scene. Otto, like, he was...
The dialogue was great.
Yeah, he's a scumbag, obviously, but he was spitting right there when he was just dressing down Daemon, and then the dragon comes out. And the first thought in my head was like, you don't bring swords to a dragon fight, buddy. And then when Rhaenyra comes out and the shot of the dragon coming up from the clouds, it was like a whale, like you see, like coming out of the water.
Right.
It was so beautiful.
It kind of reminded me of Nope, because it looked like they focused before they had that confrontation on the clouds that something's looming.
Mm-hmm.
So when it did emerge, that was so epic.
And her having that conversation with Daemon. I mean, Daemon, this episode, like...
I think he looks good in the wig.
He does.
I think he really does. Viserys' wig I've struggled with, but he looks good.
Daemon, like... It's just so complex, I feel like. Obviously, he's doing all these things, trying to get a rise out of his brother, but with that conversation with Rhaenyra, when she's like, the ire of your exit, like, kill me and you can become the heir again. Like, there was never a thought in my mind that he would actually do that.
Right.
Like, he almost had, like, this respect for Rhaenyra, and it wasn't anything more than just trying to get a rise out of his brother or make a statement. I thought he might throw the egg off the bridge at one point, just to give a nice fuck you. But I thought that was a great scene between the two. And even the scene he shares later with Corlys, he has that line where he says his brother, his worst trait is being king. Well, it was never his strongest trait. And then when Corlys starts to shit on Viserys, he's like, whoa, but I could talk shit about my brother, not you.
I understand your family goes back to Valyria, but you don't get that clout. You don't get that privilege.
So he's not this pure evil, driven solely on ambition type of character.
Well, I said the last episode, why are you doing all this? It's like they're bored.
Yeah.
This is literally something a bored person does. I'm going to take over the Dragonstone Castle with my army, and I'm going to make up this marriage just for attention. Get a hobby, dude. I don't know. Start collecting rocks.
Yeah.
He went straight for the dragon eggs. That was a nice touch too. The Valyrian people who take care of the dragon eggs.
I did like that. The dragon valets.
Yeah.
they are Valyrian and they can speak that language with them.
Well, that's why Rhaenyra's really sharp, because once she learns that Daemon stole one of the eggs, that's the first thing that her mind goes to. And I think that hinted to her that Daemon wasn't serious about this. This is really just an elaborate prank to piss us off. And she understood that. Viserys was obviously pissed. He wanted to storm down there himself, but he's a good dude, bad king.
Yeah.
And we've seen this with someone like Robert. Obviously, they have different interests, but Viserys, a lot of people were joking that a lot of people on the internet were joking that he reminds them of Ned. And I think they do share a lot of similar traits.
I think Ned's stronger, though. He's a stronger presence. But you saw when Ned got to King's Landing, he didn't know he was just in a whole different world. Viserys, he's been around this his whole life. And to still be kind of behind on all these things is kind of, it just attests he's not really best suited for the throne.
Well, even the way he delivers the news that he's going to marry Alicent, you want to tell some people before that, right? Yeah. Maybe pull Corlys to the side. Listen, buddy, I love you. Your ships are awesome. I really respect you.
Well, it's like everyone's saying Laena's the best choice. Laena's the best choice. It makes sense. Valyrian blood, pure. She has Targaryen blood. Makes sense.
Strongest house in the Seven Kingdoms. Richest house. They have half of your ships.
Yeah. But Alicent's nice to me. Dude, I was like just picturing Rhaenyra walking into the council meeting being like, oh, would you look at this? My good friend Alicent Hightower.
My best friend.
Oh, what are you doing here? This is weird. What is she doing at this whole council? Oh, no.
Hello, daughter.
This is weird.
Rhaenyra, meet your new mommy.
That's weird. Friend mom.
Who's maybe younger than you. I don't know. We're going to need those official website ages on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah, Corlys is furious.
But you lose Corlys.
Well, that was a great scene, too.
You lose your daughter.
I think the Grand Maester resigned.
The press secretary
Whole
no longer.
cabinets.
Yeah. No, but he really does. I mean, even with the conversation with Lionel Strong, like, he's another trusted advisor, and he says the same thing and kind of goes against his advice, even though he really has no personal skin in the game when it comes to this. He basically just disregarded his advice to him as well. So things like that, I think it's definitely, and I feel bad for him too, because he probably thinks he has this real good connection with Alicent, and I do think Alicent is, genuine in some of these moments too, but the whole reason why she's there is under her father's orders. So he might think he's marrying for one thing when that's just a facade.
Yeah, and I think it could be a little bit of both. She was pushed into the situation, but she does enjoy his company. She does remark that he's got a kinder heart than most.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was taken out of her hands, but now it doesn't seem like she was so upset by the decision. At the end of the day, I guess you get to be queen, right? You get to step up in this world and have a bit more power, a bit more influence. It's sort of like people always said Littlefinger was creating a monster with Sansa. Maybe Otto is doing the same thing here. This was something for him to increase his house's standing, but now you're putting your daughter in this situation where she's going to have a bit more agency, where the things that she says and the actions that she takes hold a bit more weight now. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Obviously, we saw the preview that there's going to be a rift between Rhaenyra, Alicent, and Viserys now, but that just makes for good television, right?
Yeah, no.
If everybody's going to be like,
if he's making all the right decisions, it's nothing to watch.
Yeah, it's
There's
not
no
fun.
show.
No, you don't want the King Jahara show. They killed him off in the fucking first scene.
Yeah.
Great King. Very boring TV show. What did you think about the, I guess we should talk about this, the opening?
Oh, yeah.
The new animation style. I thought the animation itself was great.
Yes.
Retracing the history of House Targaryen, beginning with the Doom, starting with Aegon, and finding its way to Viserys. I really wish they would have given us a new song. I think that this show, for the first 2 episodes, it's done a great job standing on its own. I would have preferred a new House of the Dragon banger to open it up.
You gotta play the hits, man. You go to like a Killers concert, you want to hear Mr. Brightside. You don't go for,
I wouldn't go, but sure.
Well, if you had to go.
Yeah.
But
go to a 50 Cent concert, you want to hear Many Men.
I think I liked it, man. I think it's, like we said in the last podcast, like, that's just the Song of Ice and Fire now. That's the song that's associated with Westeros in this world.
Right, but A Song of Ice and Fire is the first 5 books, 6 hopefully, 7 maybe. It's like somebody said it would be like starting the first episode of Frasier and all you hear is, you want to go where you can see. Everybody knows your name.
No, it's not.
It is. It's a spin-off.
Oh, but like...
It's also a prequel. It also has nothing to... Well, now it does have something to do with the Song of Ice and Fire. But it is whatever. It is what it is. Most people really enjoyed hearing it.
Yeah, your Star Wars theme, episode 1, episode 9, doesn't matter. Hearing that song.
Yeah, but that's a story where the same characters exist in all 3. It's a story about the same people. There's literally one Targaryen in the first.
Just stop making good points and enjoy the song, okay?
Okay, it's not creatively bankrupt, but it is close to that. But I thought it was awesome just to see, like I said, the animation retracing the stuff. You know what was funny, man? They gave Corlys the Littlefinger scene where he's speaking directly to the audience. House Velaryon goes back to old Valyria. They say it's more ancient than House Targaryen. Wink, wink. You guys picking up on this? Write this down. This is important.
I did like when, it's a very old Valyria heavy episode, especially with the Lego set he's making is a replica of old Valyria. But yeah, with Corlys, that was a great scene too, because after he is disrespected by Viserys, or he perceived as disrespect, it was kind of, he's having that conversation, the camera's slowly panning, you wonder who he's talking to. Is it Rhaenyra? Is it just Rhaenys? And it ends up being Daemon. I thought that was really well done. And, he kind of pressures, another thing aside from the rejected marriage proposal is his lack of action when it comes to these pirates, and kind of leaving his men and his ships to be taken and things of that nature. And he feels like not enough's being done, and presents this opportunity to Daemon as like, if you can really show your strength and your worth if you do something about this.
Right, and the way they teased what's going on at the Stepstones was so good.
Yeah.
It's so creepy. It was unsettling. The first shot of the episode and also the last shot of the episode.
They look fucking terrifying with the masks and the way they're kind of like crucifying these people, nailing them to boards, letting the crabs just eat them. These people are sick.
Right. And he had the great line about you either go directly into the storm around it, but you don't wait for it to come to you. So Daemon and Corlys forming an alliance there at the end, and they tease the battle for next episode, and I've heard that it's pretty epic. When one of the characters goes, "Dragon!" That's going to be incredible. I thought we were just
going to see one at the end of that episode, but that was actually a cool cut, because I feel like it kind of just builds the suspense for what's to come.
Yeah, and poor Corlys, he's slighted there at the end. And that's why Viserys is such a bad decision maker, because to somebody that important, you want to give them a heads up. You don't want to embarrass them in front of everyone. And I think that's the hubris of being king. Because you are king, because you command all these people, you feel you could just make this announcement, everyone has to live with it. But these are individuals with a lot of power. They can make decisions that will impact your reign or your hold on your kingdom.
He enjoys the theater, He
does, yeah.
You don't watch The Bachelor, you don't want to know who's winning. You want to wait for that last moment. That was his moment, Bachelor.
But you mentioned
the rose to Allison.
I did like getting more insight about old Valyria.
And Lena will get a spit-off. She'll be the next Bachelorette. That's what they always do. That's what they love to do.
Same theme song.
Yes.
Dun 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 dun. Just her life is Lena. And he gives Alicent the history lesson on old Valyria, and I'm a sucker for that stuff because I think the old Valyria lore is so great. I mean, the world building the world that this man was able to put together, where a civilization that was wiped out hundreds of years ago is still on the minds of so many characters in the show and so many fans. So hearing about the blood mages and where they built their seat near the volcano, the mouth of the volcano, in order to be connected with their magical powers, all that stuff is really fascinating. Yeah. And he's a man he's kind of out of time because he's obsessed with the past and he can't focus on the present. Even though he has these duties, he's more concerned with history and trivial matters. I do appreciate, though, the way they spoke about Emma and the grief that they both share. I often wonder in this world, do they even love their wives? You know, your wife dies and you remarry immediately, but it's something that's he's held on to for months now, for 6 months.
I think it really depends. I think Ned and Kat really had a connection, but like you see with Damon when he said, you know, he was forced to marry someone he didn't want.
Right.
So I guess it depends, but yeah, their conversations together, especially when she got back from Dragonstone, I thought was a really great scene because it just goes from him being mad and worried about his daughter, and then he's like, "Oh, good job," and they move on to something more important between the two of them. So yeah, and I think going to Rhaenyra, just kind of accepting that fate as just that's what you have to do, things that you have to learn to accept, especially when you're next in line. So I think her reactions to a lot of these things, from what her conversation with Rhaenys, her conversation with her father and Alicent, has been she's thinking much more like the next in line now.
Yeah, and it makes sense with her being the only living child that he would have to remarry and make more heirs. It strengthens your house. The more children you have, the more, something goes wrong. It's accounting for spillage.
That's what Nick Cannon's doing.
Yeah, the House of Cannon.
Yeah.
Same theme song, too, when HBO comes out with that series. But I think over these first 2 episodes, I've been very impressed by Millie Alcock's ability to portray the strength of Rhaenyra and the emotional maturity. She's obviously wise beyond her years. Like I said, making the decision to confront Daemon, and that being the right decision. The way she walks away from that encounter was so badass, too. Basically looking at Otto and saying, I just saved your ass. You weren't able to handle this. This was going to end with you being burnt to a fucking crisp. But everything about her character has been, you just gravitate towards her. Everybody was wondering who's going to be the hero, who's going to have those sort of traits that make people want to root for them. And I think Rhaenyra has proven to be that character.
Was Otto not expecting the dragon?
Yeah, right. They've got fucking dragons.
Like halfway through, he's halfway on his journey, he's probably like, fuck, guys. Forgot about the dragon.
Well, when Cersei tells Ned, is this supposed to be your shield? He's hiding behind that pin.
Yeah.
You attack the hand of the king, you're in open rebellion. He already called it treasonous. But if there's any bloodshed, you know that the full weight of the crown is going to come down on Dragonstone. It almost already did. Viserys was ready to ride down there himself. And Eve Best as Rhaenys, it's not a long scene, but man, is she charming and charismatic.
Yeah.
I was ready to bend the knee. You should have been queen. I like the way you talk, woman.
Probably would have been better suited than Viserys.
Yeah, without a doubt. You could see it there just by her proposing the marriage. You have to wonder if it's more her ideas than it was Corlys's, right? Because they're in lockstep there. But it's a smart move.
Yeah, I think especially, I don't know if she has any animosity towards Rhaenyra as well in that conversation. I think it was more of her just trying to tell her how it is. Kind of. I live this, so even though Rhaenyra kind of brushes it off and believes she's different or this is a different circumstances, she puts it plain out there, men rather put the realm to the torch than have a woman rule. So
yeah, and Rhaenyra, the truth hurts. When you're experiencing it, it's one thing. You can lie to yourself, tell yourself that things are going to change. But when somebody gives you that truth to your face, unfiltered, it sets in. So you have the moment with Alicent where they're praying, and she breaks down and talks about how nobody trusts her, nobody's actually, viewing her as the true heir, and Alicent tells her, calm down and due time, right? Once I come into my throne, then people are definitely going to respect you. I'll help you out, right?
Yeah.
We're buddies. We're pals. I thought the cinematography there was beautiful. The shots of them praying with the candles. I mean, the whole show, the look of the show has been fantastic. And also the scene where Damon and Rhaenyra do confront each other. The way they turned into sort of silhouettes with the golden hour in the background. That was really beautiful and stunning.
No, it looked great. I think even the dragons look great. I think Caraxes, when he came out.
People were making fun of his long neck. They said they gave Damon the goofy ass dragon.
I like this. Like, he has a unique sound to him too.
Yeah.
So I liked how the dragons take on kind of these different personalities. But yeah, he does got a long ass neck. Daenerys was wild for running those bad boys in no saddle.
I know. Yeah, I really hope they go back and CGI in some saddles, like Henry Cavill's mustache.
So many things can go wrong.
They just made her immortal, except if she gets stabbed in the gut. Doesn't get sick, immune to fire, no saddles. Yeah. What can't this woman do besides survive a stab to the gut?
Yeah.
Jon Snow could do that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true.
But you see the frustration throughout the episode when it comes to Rhaenyra, and then it ends in her being slighted by her father, because you know that this isn't going to go so easily as them two fully embracing each other as new family, as new relatives. Let's all join hands, sing Kumbaya, and hatch some more dragons, right? Because now, Alicent, the privileges that come with being a Targaryen queen is that your children get to lie in a crib with a dragon egg, so they can form that bond. That puts the power of, you're putting that power in the hands of a quote-unquote outsider.
Yeah.
And you could just, the look of Otto Hightower when his daughter is named to be the new wife, he is thrilled. You could just see the gears turning in that man's brain. What the hell are we going to do with this now? We're on the come up.
The looks he was tossing over to Corlys, too, this episode.
Poor Corlys.
It's like, all right, Damon's gone. Who am I going to fuck over? Like,
who's my enemy now? To you.
Yeah. He's such he's a good character, though.
He's a great character. You see how Viserys trusts him when they have that private conversation when Viserys is getting his hand eaten by the maggots.
I would let my finger fall off. That's so gross, man.
That man is being picked apart by that Iron Throne, huh? He's in the doctor's office every other week.
Yeah, it's like a little kid, the kid in class in elementary school is always in the nurse's office.
Just always going home early. That's why the crown is going to be bankrupt. The fucking treasurer is like, what the hell, man? Get healthy. Take care of yourself.
Our budget's up 250% from the last reign.
But that was a clever line, too, when Otto says Corlys overstepped. He should have addressed this to the council. And Viserys goes, that's what I'm doing right now. So give me your advice, because you are basically the small council. Other people can tell me what to do, but I listen to you mostly. And it ends up being Otto's advice that he does take. This was obviously something Otto had planted. Mm-hmm. So one victory for the new Littlefinger. Or people are now taking to calling him Middlefinger. So good episode for Otto. Good episode for the Hightowers.
Yeah, I put them up. They're atop the power rankings after this week.
Yeah, definitely. A little step back for Rhaenyra. She had the great ending in episode 1, but now her spot in the hierarchy has become a bit nebulous. It's not as clear anymore, which makes for great TV.
Well, yeah, I mean the preview for the next episode.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely going to be some issues going forward. So it looks like there's going to be another time jump, maybe a year or so.
Right, yeah, because it looks like Viserys has his firstborn son.
So it's interesting to see, I think it makes more sense now because just setting up this story to get to these points to where we actually start getting into some shit, that makes sense. But I think it might be split because unless this conflict on the Stepstones spans this long, then I wonder how they're going to kick off that and then have this jump as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if maybe the battle of the Stepstones happens in the beginning of the episode and then there's a time jump, maybe 9 months or 15 months, a couple of years. So I'm even more interested now in the time jump to the newer actors. How many years, how much time is going to pass? We're going to see some babies age up into men. So that's going to be really fun, man. I mean, the stuff that they're setting up for, I think a lot of fans are going to look back on these earlier episodes and be like, man, a lot of this was in plain sight. It's similar to Game of Thrones as well.
Yeah, it's hard for me to think of a first 2 episodes of a season that really kicked off as strongly as House of the Dragon did in Game of Thrones, because I think Game of Thrones always did a great job of establishing what's to come and putting a lot of these pieces into place, but the amount of like big moves happening in these first 2 episodes are very significant. So I feel like Game of Thrones took their time a little, but with this, I think because the story does span so long in terms of how many years and that this has been brewing, that you kind of have to hit some of these bigger moments earlier on to kind of further set up what's really this show is going to be about. So yeah, I think they're doing a good job. It doesn't feel like they're rushing to it at any point, which sometimes when you make some of these jumps and have all these things happen so close together, it could feel like that, but I think they're doing a great job of kind of pacing it so far.
Right, yeah, you feel that time has passed, but it doesn't throw you off whatsoever. It feels like it's a congruous narrative unfolding here.
Where like in Game of Thrones, I feel like because they set the standard of kind of slow burning it a little bit, well, later on in seasons they made the joke like Littlefinger's helicopter and things of that nature, where you could honestly say that about this season, but the way it's kind of established its own route, it makes sense that in one scene Otto's like, I'm going to Dragonstone, and then instead Game of Thrones traditionally earlier seasons, maybe in 2 episodes we might see Otto on the doorsteps of Dragonstone, where here it's just the next scene.
And Dragonstone is close-ish.
Yeah.
No, it's not too far of a
Did
trek.
he hit the pack?
Yeah. Well, maybe they borrowed one of the dragons. He just hitched a ride.
Yeah.
Rhaenyra probably got there in 10, 15 minutes. This is the first time they've incorporated time jumps. I don't think that's ever happened in Game of Thrones. You can argue maybe Bran because he missed a season.
Yeah.
In a way, that was a time jump. But for them to jump 6 months into the future, normally it's just time unfolding in the Game of Thrones story. Sometimes there'd be flashbacks.
Well, you never really knew because the scene would just start and you would kind of have to put it together where, like, how long has it been since last time we've seen this character?
Right. But yeah, I was very satisfied with the pacing of this episode. A bit slower, maybe not as riveting, but it's setting up so many good things to come. So, like I said, I think it maintains the quality of that first one while setting up this episode 3 where so many good things have been said about it, the production value of it all. So that's what people are coming to this show to see. Yeah. They want to see dragons, they want to see political machinations, and they want to see those two things come to a head in fiery confrontations. So just, like I said, the character looking up and saying, "Dragon," that is a horrifying thing to see in the middle of medieval war. It's just so unfair.
It really is.
It is like having a fucking Apache helicopter. Imagine dragon shot bullets.
That was so fucking cool, man. Rhaenyra came out.
Yeah, it was fucking cool.
Fucking strapped too.
She looks so cool on the back of that dragon. She belongs there. That's the thing that's so frustrating about her situation. She's clearly the best leader. She's the smartest one they've got. Maybe Rhaenys, she's got the years on her. She's probably got a bit more wisdom. But her instincts for leadership are all there. And it's still, the realm we need. We need more heirs. Have some backups, right? Maybe some of them will be male. But you're fine, Rhaenyra. Your place is solidified. So it just sucks, It's what she was literally born to do, and everyone's so hesitant to allow her to do it. If you're a dolphin, you got to swim.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like that?
I do like that.
Yeah, these dolphins walking around in fucking shoes and shit. That's not what they're supposed to be doing.
Never seen that before.
Yeah, well, get out more. You know who's great, man? Sir Harold Westerling.
Yeah, he is.
He's just such a guy.
He's got a job to do.
He does. Yeah. And you could see he really cares for Rhaenyra. He's a little frustrated, too, when she gets dismissed.
But now he's got a new work buddy, Kristen Cole. I did like when what does Damon call him? Crispin? Crispin. And then he's like, basically, maybe you would remember if I didn't unseat you on your horse or whatever.
Remember when I kicked your ass?
Yeah.
Damon's like, good point. Yeah, you did kick my ass.
Fair play.
As much as I love Sonoya Mizuno as an actress, I'm not so sure about that accent. I don't know if it's French, vaguely European.
It's an awkward accent to do because, like, common tongue, English accent, that's what it is. Maybe northern accent for some of the northern houses. Here it's just like, but she even says she has no idea where she's from. What accent are you supposed to do?
That's why I think it would have just benefited the show if it was a Varys situation. She's adjusted her accent to fit the Seven Kingdoms. So maybe there's a very vague hint of foreignness to her.
Seems like
but
she was trying to go for like a Shay type.
I don't think it's necessary, and that's on the showrunners. You know, that's their choice. I think you could have established her as a foreigner without giving her that silly accent, because it was distracting in that scene. But it was a good scene. You know, further develops what type of relationship they have.
I want a new character to come and be like, "Howdy,
y'all."
That would break.
I'm from the southern continent.
Missourios.
Missourios. That's good stuff.
What I was gonna say, but yeah, her talking about like just, you know, she doesn't really want anything from Damon. She just wants to feel secure. I think that's another thing where it's like just foisting a situation on somebody that doesn't want to be in that situation. Like, I don't want to be queen. I don't want to just have your child just because you want one. Yeah, I think that's something where...
Yeah, she says, I would never be threatened with childbirth again.
Yeah.
So don't play that with me. And we get the you know, the whole you're playing your Game of Thrones and using me as a piece. What happens if the board gets turned over? I'm on that board. What the hell? You're a player. You're on the fancy chair. So I think there was some trust that was broken there. And Damon obviously sees her as an important ally. So that's someone you want to keep happy.
Yeah.
If you want to get the best out of her.
You always feel bad for people who are just there because of circumstance.
Yeah, she's, you know, Rhaenyra's like, you want to be a father? And he looks at her one day. And she's just like, I'm out of here. She
speaks Valyrian.
Right. I think they're doing a good job of setting up the mysterious nature of the character. What is she cooking? What does she have up her sleeves? Why is Damon trusting her? So the accent, not great, but I think the character, there's definitely more there that meets the eye. So I think people will be naturally interested in learning more about her. Yeah, but like we mentioned last week, we will be back later in the week for our spoiler discussion. I think Teddy got his haircut, so he should be good to go. And he will be joining us for that review.
He better be looking fresh.
Yeah, he better be.
You know, they say, like, look good, perform good.
Yeah.
So if, like, that's just a business decision, I think. If, you know, the haircut brings something out of him that works. But if he's bad, looks like shit, no excuse.
Imagine he dyed his hair silver. It's really getting into it.
I would respect it.
Alright guys, that does it for this video. Thank you for joining us for this review. For Aaron the Nerd Soup Monkey, I am Beau Oliver. Before we sign off, I want to quickly spotlight our weekly podcast, the Nerd Soup Podcast, published every Wednesday at noon. Every week you could join myself, Aaron, Teddy, and the rest of the Nerd Soup crew as we discuss the hottest stories in movies and TV, equipped with some off-the-cuff commentary on the world of pop culture, while also providing extended reviews for the movies and shows we love. You can subscribe to our podcast channel on YouTube at the Nerd Soup Podcast, which can also be found on our Nerd Soup homepage, and you can listen to episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and all of the podcasting platforms we publish to. Thank you again for joining us on this review, and we will be back next week to review House of the Dragon, Episode 3.
Damn, we were making some good points in that video. Hey guys, Aaron the Nerd Soup Monkey here. Before we end this video, I want to give a quick shout out to our Patreon supporters. What can I say about you guys that I haven't already said about myself? You are the most important part of the channel and the main reason we keep going strong. Like Beau says, you keep the lights on in the fridge so the fridge is full. Or something like that. So, from everyone here at Nerd Soup, I'd like to thank you guys for your continued support. If you're interested in joining the ranks of our patron supporters, head over to patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out the rewards we offer to our patrons. We recently dropped some new stickers for you guys to check out, or you could choose a tier that will allow you to select a movie, show, or video game for us to review. We've got a full slate of fan-suggested reviews coming your way, and we're really excited about the chance to review some of those movies and shows. We've also got t-shirts, mugs, behind-the-scenes videos showing how we bring our videos to life. And once again, thank you to all our Patreon pledgers who have been supporting us throughout the years. Without you, we wouldn't be able to convert all your pledges into cryptocurrency, so thank you from my future self for making us broke.